Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Homegrown Happy Hour podcast. My special guest on this week's episode, no one other than Clark Sexton.
What's up?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. It's a rainy day today, but, keeping positive.
Yeah, that's what it's about. I built this huge fireplace, man. Like, seats 6 people, 200 bricks around it. I worked my butt off over the weekend. And I was so happy to have a brand new fireplace. And ever since I built that fire pit, it has rained every single day.
Yep. That'll just make it more glorious when you finally get to use it, though.
Yeah. I guess it gives me something to look forward to,
Exactly.
at least.
But still, I understand what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a... I kind of like rainy days, though, man. Sometimes. Yeah, it's makes me sleepy, of course. But it makes you have to kind of take a break from being so busy, maybe, and just lay around the house.
Well, it's good for me a lot of times because it induces songwriting.
Yeah, I find a lot of my inspiration, like if somebody else is driving and I'm just riding in the vehicle, for some reason I find so much inspiration if I'm like the passenger of whatever vehicle it is. I don't know why, but that's my thing, just like rain is for you. That's my time where I find a lot of inspiration, and I don't get it. It's just, it happens. But everybody has what works for them, though.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, yeah. Well, lately, too, I've been riding a whole lot of motorcycles, so it's like doing that gives you a certain amount of adrenaline, but it also calms you down at the same time, and I feel like that's another example of like just being able to think clearer from a calm standpoint, and that's what, it's just another example of kind of what I'm talking about.
You look like a motorcycle, right? Like you look like a cast member of Sons of Anarchy, man.
I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that Opie is one of the biggest influences ever for, you know what I mean?
Oh, man.
In high school, I freaked out over that show.
Dude, you look just like him. Yeah, like for real, like almost a spit. If you had the toboggan on, it would be
back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert to anybody out there. Oh man.
No, that's the worst.
Oh, that's one. Man, like my jaw literally dropped when that happened.
Most definitely.
Oh, it's like, man, some TV shows get that way, dude. Like you feel connected to these characters after a while.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And me being like 18, I think at the time, or 17 at the time that I was watching the show Hardcore or whatever, then it was, I was impressionable. It was like, man, that's cool. And so Opie being kind of that stoic character and whatever, and then obviously naturally like having similar aspects or whatever to, you relate to the character so hard, stuff like that. Yeah.
Did you watch The Mines at all?
I've watched like 3 episodes. I'm actually in the process. I saw the other day, there's supposed to be a sequel and a prequel come out, I think.
Oh, is that the Prospects or whatever?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, they were talking about doing one of the first 9.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I read for sure.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
Fantastic, man. I'm anticipating it, so I'm probably going to go back and rewatch Sons again.
Yeah,
and then Mayans, and then be ready to, whenever Kurt Sutter releases all that.
Kurt Sutter, dude, is a mastermind.
I agree.
That was the TV show that got me into TV shows.
Okay.
Like I watched it when it was still on FX, and I remember that if you missed the 10 o'clock episode on Tuesday nights, you had to wait all the way till 1 o'clock in the morning to watch the rerun. And sometimes I had to do that, but that's how hardcore of a fan I was.
Right.
Like I had them schedules good.
Yeah, anticipate the next episode.
Yeah. God, it's such a good TV show. It will rip your heart out. Though. To anyone that's thinking about watching Sons of Anarchy, be warned. It will rip your heart out.
It will, and many times.
Oh, yeah. Time and time again. But especially as it gets there towards the end, man, just one after the other. And there's not exactly no happy ending.
No, it's not. I think that's a lot of the appeal to the show, though. It's like, or at least for the people that have already seen, all the seasons, everything. I think that's part of the appeal is like, the doom aspect of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jax's story is I think it's fantastic, man.
Oh, yeah. And the way it ended, we ain't going to spoil it for anybody. We ain't going to spoil it any more than we already have. But the ending, it makes sense for Jax.
Yeah.
Like it couldn't have ended another way. It had to be that way.
I think, there was part of everyone who watched it saw it coming.
Yeah. But one thing that I was watching an interview with Kurt just like a few weeks ago, and he was talking about like some of the stuff that people might not have noticed or like unanswered questions. And one thing that I always wondered about was the Lady in Black.
Oh,
the some people would call her the Grim Reaper or the Angel of Death or whatever.
The shopping cart, and she was always there at the perfect time to say the perfect thing. It was weird, but not too often.
And most time it was a big death. Like if she popped up, there something bad was about to happen. And he said that there's really no explanation for her. Basically, you come up with your own whoever she is.
Okay.
Which I kind of liked that answer, but I didn't like that answer. I'm like, just give us a name. Just tell us who she is.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I never put that together hardly. I mean, I put the initial part together on her, but I need to see the interview for sure.
Dude, it's good. It's really good, and it's cool too. Like how ain't her name Katie Seagal, the one that plays Gemma?
Yeah.
That's Kurt's wife.
Yes.
I had no idea until after the show.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
That's the ultimate power couple to me.
Oh yeah. Have you heard her sing?
Yeah.
At all?
Oh yeah.
Dude, she's got a nice voice.
Most definitely. But I actually probably the first time I heard her sing though was Leela from Futurama. There's certain she's the voice of Leela. I'm pretty sure.
Is. Yeah. Dude, I never put those two together.
Most definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. I've never looked into the cast of Futurama.
Well, I heard her voice after watching Sons. How Futurama is one of those shows for me I never really watched, but I watched it. Just be on TV late night. Or
that's the same thing here.
So it's like I heard that in Leela's voice or whatever. I was like, I'm gonna look that up. Yeah. If I remember correctly,
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That's one thing that I don't like about streaming services is after a movie or a show, if you did, especially a cartoon, if you heard somebody's voice, you'd be like, oh, that sounds like whoever. I wonder if that's who it is.
Yeah.
And you'd find it in the credits. But most of the time, if it's a TV show or even just a movie, at least on Netflix, it'll be starting something else as the credits are rolling.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't look into it.
I've never thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mind going on IMDb, but still, I miss doing that whenever I was a kid. Do you watch Rick and Morty?
Oh, Eddie? Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I've just now gotten into that enough to I haven't sat down and watched the whole thing yet. That's what I'm trying to say. But I've seen so many episodes. I have to go back and start over and watch it in order. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to it, man. I need to go back and rewatch some stuff too. But the guy that plays Squanchy, Squanchy the cat, is also the voice of SpongeBob.
Oh, is that the same guy?
Yeah, the same dude. And he plays Squanchy on Rick and Morty.
Wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the same dude that plays SpongeBob. I had no idea. Tom Kenny, I think is the guy's name. Yeah, he plays a lot on Rick and Morty. Some of the most vulgar characters on the show is the same dude that plays SpongeBob.
Way to ruin a childhood hero. No.
Yeah.
No, I grew up watching a lot of SpongeBob though, man. That was just the show when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why our generation mostly likes Family Guy and Futurama and all that because we grew up on all these great cartoons.
Yeah, for sure, most definitely. I mean, I even had influence from people in my family to watch older cartoons, of course. That they would watch. All the classics and stuff sometimes because I don't know. I just know a lot of people that Saturday morning they'd wake up, eat breakfast, and watch cartoons. That's just what they did. That was the big thing to do apparently as a kid.
Yeah.
Saturday morning cartoons. So it's just a lot of those cartoons that older people in my family had watched as a kid. Kind of carried over into what I watched.
I wonder what's the oldest cartoon run. It has to be Disney, right? Mickey Mouse,
something. I mean, Looney Tunes, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm sure there's older ones. I'm sure there's stuff, that I've never even heard of. But
yeah, that'd be cool to see who was the first actual cartoon that's still going today.
Yeah, still going today. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be Mickey Mouse.
Think so?
Yeah, I wish this was the Joe Rogan show and we had young Jamie to be pulling stuff up on a screen. That would be pretty nice.
Definitely. Joe Rogan, that's talk about a phenomenon, man.
Well, that's why we've jumped into podcasting like we have because people like him, and now there's beginning to be a lot more famous podcasters. But that's where everything is going.
Yep.
Even radio, podcasting.
Most of the time, if I'm not listening to music in the car, even I have podcasts on listening to them. Especially traveling because you can only rock out for so long. I feel before driving, at least on long trips, before you're kind of well, let's calm down. It's Joe Rogan, and then a lot of comedians, we were talking about before we started here, comedian thing, man. There's so many comedians that I've grown to respect on a high level just because it went through their podcast. I feel like you get to kind of know them, or at least, you know, where they stand on certain things. And, you know, it's just cool to have someone make you laugh, but make you think at the same time. You know what I mean? And Theo Vaughn and Chris D'Elia.
Theo Vaughn, dude, is, God, he's... I love Theo Vaughn, man. I wish he would be perfect for around this area. I wish somebody around here would pick him up. He would kill around here.
Yeah, he's a Louisiana boy, isn't he?
Something like that. I think so.
Yeah.
And man, like his podcasts are just as funny as he is on stage. Like I wish I could be that funny.
Well,
it's just that, and he's just being him.
That's what I was going to say.
That's who he is.
Yep.
And he's hilarious just as a person. And the way that like he'll come up with these words.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love it. Yeah. I'm bad to like steal some of his phrases and words, you know, sometimes and use them. And people buddies who haven't heard his podcast or anything, you know, they'll roll, and I eventually probably have to be like, man, I didn't make that up. That's Theo Vaughn. You know, you need to check him out. But I'm bad to steal his. I mean, there's so many funny words he says, man.
Oh, yeah, but dude, he's hilarious. Theo Vaughn's one of the best. He came to Lexington, and I totally missed him, man. I didn't get a chance to make it out there.
I don't think I was in town when he did. Been bouncing back and forth from Nashville a whole lot. Yeah.
So how long have you been in Nashville for now?
When I turned 18, that was 2015. I think I graduated or got out of school there and went to Nashville. So I've been there pretty much ever since 2015.
What made you make the big move down there? Was it just solely music?
It was music, yeah. I mean, I had a couple of influences, too, that were from here that had gone down there and did really well. And not even just as artists, but also as just pickers, you know, playing for guys on a professional level and stuff.
Yeah.
And it just, at that time, I had it in my head I was going to go to Belmont University, which wasn't what I needed to do. I mean, of course, initially it was great, and I'm thankful for the time spent there, but school is just not anything for me whatsoever. But at least it bridged the gap that first year, and you know, I had a safe place kind of to stay and, you know, adapt to what the city was, you know, and the music scene there. And instead of really focusing on school, I feel like I subconsciously, naturally gravitated towards the Broadway scene, you know, playing out live and stuff, and working in the studios and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been there. My folks just now moved down this past year too. Down that way.
Your folks moved down there with you?
So
that's cool.
They're down that way. So now I've kind of got a home base to jump back and forth and travel and spread the music and try to develop the following. You know.
Yeah, that's cool that your folks moved down there, man. Because that's what kind of keeps a lot of people from moving away is family and all that. So that's good, man. Was it like they done it like just for you? Is that something they've been wanting to do too?
It was both. I mean, it was for, and I made sure before they, you know, when they started talking about it, then I was like, don't feel like, you know, because I have the most supportive parents, man. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do half of what I'm doing right now. You know,
they sound supportive.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic, man. So it's like, whenever they started talking about it, I was like, look, don't come down here just to appease, you know, what I'm trying to do with my career and stuff. And they were like, look. It gave me a list of reasons, you know, whatever, X, Y, and Z, and it made sense for them. Because they were actually living in London, Kentucky, for a while, you know, and stuff. And my dad's work and stuff, you know, whatever. But my dad plays music too, so the thing about it is him coming down allowed him an opportunity to get back into playing more, you know, and that kind of thing. So, and a lot of other reasons, it just made sense for everybody. And it's been a blessing, man. It's been awesome having them down there for sure.
That's cool, though, man. And Nashville's such a beautiful place, too. Cool. So, I mean, even on the outskirts of Nashville is beautiful. So, even just living anywhere near it's going to be pretty scenery.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I watched your the CMH show that you done, and I seen you talking about the song that you and your mom made. So I seen that you come from a musical family. That's pretty cool, though. Is that how you kind of got into music? Was just your whole family being into it?
Well, it's mainly just my father. My mom is a fantastic songwriter, but she doesn't play any instruments. She doesn't really sing, you know, anything like that. She's more of a poet, you know. And then my father's more the one that turns it into music. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He's a heck of a singer, man. You know, and he's definitely the main reason why I am who I am today, especially musically. He was, I mean, having a bond with your dad, you know, growing up, and I loved music just as much as he wanted to push me into loving it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he ever forced it into me, but he definitely stayed on top of me in the best ways possible to shape and mold, you know. So, half the credit, if not more, to my father for all of it, for sure.
So like, when did you officially start doing music? Like, when would you say you
in
did?
the womb? I mean, as soon as I could hold myself up on a drum stool, then I was banging on them, keeping a beat. Probably 2 years old,
That's cool, man.
Yeah, started on drums and then evolved into playing different instruments and singing and stuff. But yeah, man, as long as I can remember, for sure.
That you had an advantage being around an actual drum set at 2 years old. Yeah. The rest of us, we just had pots and pans that we.
Well, that happened too. I'd get in between. Finally, I got my own drum set. I think when I was like 7. Finally, and it was cool. But in between having kits around for my dad's drummers, because he always had a band and playing stuff, and then stuff like that. Having I think my brother had a kit for a while when he was young. My older brother, he's like 5 years older than me, so.
Cool.
But in between all of that, then I definitely would be guilty of ruining pots and pans. Mom, had cabinets.
Well, that's cool that you come from like such a musical family.
Oh, yeah.
What like, have you ever included them on a song or a project or anything like that? That would be really cool to do.
I think formally I could say probably not. Like, I don't have any songs out right now that any of my family's on. Trying to think though. I mean, my dad always knows if I ever. He's played bass with me a ton of shows, live and stuff. If I ever play anywhere, he's always welcome on the stage, stuff like that. But I need to do a collab someday. One of these days I'll get him to throw down some bass lines and sing a song or something with me.
That'd be cool to do, man. And that's cool that he shares the stage with you sometimes too.
He's he's really built me out. There's been a few shows where, because the general consensus is, when he's in Nashville, he has his own shows, playing the scene and stuff and whatever. Yeah. So it's like. There's been a couple times where I'll be like, hey, man, the show's tomorrow, 3.5 hours away. I can pay you this much. I don't have a bass player. Can you? It's like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, for sure. It's pretty convenient, and he's a badass, so it's, it's cool.
Yeah. And that's, has there ever been a time, though, like where he has his own shows, you hit him up, be like, hey, man, can you play with me? He's like, nah, dude, I'm doing my own thing.
There's definitely been a couple times where he's been on the road playing bass for somebody, and it's just like he's not an option. I probably already knew in advance, but it's just like, crap, I'm going to have to really find someone, hopefully they learn the material. But, man, Eastern Kentucky and West Virginia, this area, man, we got an awesome scene, dude.
Yeah, we do.
We always have, I feel like. Way before my time, a lot of the guys that developed this scene, I was fortunate enough to kind of be raised by musically in a way. So it's like those guys, man, I can name them, but it is what it is. Everybody knows around here. If you're a musician around here, you probably know who I'm talking about. But the scene's blessed around here, I think, man.
Well, they grew up playing all bluegrass, man, and I think that's what has gave this area so much of its musical talent. Because, man, like, I like bluegrass. It's not one of my favorite styles of music, but I'll still listen to it. And I've been to bluegrass shows, and I see how fast they're picking and the style and stuff. And, man, whenever you're raised on that kind of music and heritage, if you're a musician, you're going to be good.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you're talking probably on the high, like, famous level. You know what I mean, too?
Yeah.
A lot of the guys I'm talking about, man, they can play, the musicians that... think about, have you ever heard of like Center Stage, Mark II, Marlo Tackett's?
Oh, yeah.
The guys that developed that scene, and the instrumentalists, the musicians and stuff, and the vocalists, they can do anything. They can play bluegrass, gospel, rock and roll, blues, jazz, anything. Because it's just they were, covering top 40 hits, doing it all, making people dance and making people freak out if they could play music,
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I used to DJ at the Mark II, and
nice.
Man, dude, some wild stories come out of that place. Yeah, I mean, we have some great musicians, but the hills tend to get a little bit crazy sometimes too, especially at a show.
I'm all the time having. I play Outlaw Country for the most part, man. You know what I mean? So I'm all the time having people. There's been several fights. I'll say that. You know what I mean? It's all good, but I never condone it. I'm never, I'm always trying to get people drunk and make people drink.
Yeah.
I think alcohol induces certain people to do stupid things, but
you have those people out there, and it just is what it is. I seen that you done a show. Didn't you do a show last Saturday?
Trying to think. The last show I did was at Prime up there in Paintsville at the diner.
Yeah, did you? Wasn't that last weekend?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was. I think it was Friday. Was it Saturday? Probably was Saturday, yeah.
So.
What day is it? No. No, I think it was Saturday.
How did that go? Was that your first show?
First show back.
Wow, man. That's wild. How was it different? What was it like?
It was. It was different for me, not necessarily musically. It felt really great to be back playing and singing. You know, it's great in that way. The crowd, for me, was almost like people. Now, my buddies were there. I had a lot of buddies and friends there, and I had, a lot of people I knew there, and they're always the best, man. The people that come out and hang out and watch me regularly and stuff are fantastic. But I feel like a lot of people, they were afraid to stay. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They didn't really know how to handle being back out,
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where the crowd was fantastic. It just wasn't. I expected everybody to be out, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Which, sometimes you win, sometimes, you don't have as many people as you think. But it was a fantastic crowd as far as quality, man. The people that were there, I was walking around talking to them all, man, and they were all having a great time. So
that's good, though, man. Yeah, it's different now that everything's opening back up.
It is.
Yeah, I thought that it would be a little bit easier to kind of get used to everything, but I don't know, man. It's going to take some time, especially for just regular folks out there.
Right.
But I went to Pigeon Forge a few weeks ago, and in places like that, man, you'd think the coronavirus never existed.
Really?
People are just, yeah, dude, right on top of each other, just stacked. And it's crazy.
I don't know how to feel. I mean, part of me always, obviously, is kind of like, well, I don't worry about it as much, and this, that, and whatever. But at the end of the day, the core of me definitely is concerned for other people. I don't want to get anybody sick. I'd rather be sick myself than to give someone something that's gonna, potentially kill them. So it's one of those things where I don't know. I've tried to take it as seriously as possible, but at the same time, if I was in Pigeon Forge and seeing a lot of people around, I wouldn't freak out and be upset.
Well, you can't be scared to live, man. That's what I've been telling everybody. Now, if you're a little bit older of a person or you're around older people a lot more often, then yeah, you be careful.
Yeah, of course.
But for people that may not be, of course, social distance, always wear your mask when you can, yada, yada, yada. But sometimes you just got to get things back going. And it's a slow process, too. It's not like we're just opening the floodgates and letting people do what they want to. We're still taking some safety precautions along the way, which is a good thing. So I think that we're doing everything right by the most part.
Yeah, I think so. I think that there's always going to be people that, have opinions and everything. But at the end of the day, I think if you're a considerate human, you know what I mean? Then it's kind of common sense, And as far as, like you're talking about, you use Pigeon Forge as an example, man. If you're there, you know what you're doing is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. If like you said, common sense. That's all people got to use.
Yeah, exactly. And that's usually the case, I feel like.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, there's a lot of people out there that don't have common sense.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Or they just tend to let their emotions override common sense.
Yeah. That seems to be happening so much nowadays, man. I've unplugged from the world so much that I just don't know what's going on. I have not, like, apparently they're in, I think it was Seattle. I don't even know where this is. But they shut down a block and a bunch of people overtook a few blocks of this one city. And yeah, that's a thing that happened. And I found out about it like several days later. Yeah. I don't know if that's still a thing. I can't tell you anything that's in the news right now.
Well, the thing about it is half the stuff you see is definitely not true. Half of it's very true. Me personally, if you go check like my personal Facebook page especially, I don't post. I just don't share things. I don't post things. Like
same.
I'll not share like a motorcycle picture or something like that or a song lyric, but I don't get involved because it's just like, to me, all of that world has no business in the world that I'm trying to live in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And especially professionally speaking. Yeah.
Well, if it's important enough and it affects my life enough, eventually it'll make its way to me. And I'll see it when it pops up. But man, I hardly ever watch the news.
Yeah.
I rarely get on Facebook. If I do, very careful about what I like and stuff on there. And if some people get too annoying, then just block them for a little while. just you don't have to unfriend them. Just block them for a minute and tell them to shut up for a little while.
That mute
and then
button.
A mute button. Yeah, that's what we should start calling it instead of a block. Just a mute. Just shut up for a second.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, and I think with everything going on right now, I definitely have a heart. Like I said, compassion, and like it's one of those things where if there's ever anything I can do for the better, or for anyone that's in any kind of negative position, I definitely will. I don't even care to sacrifice myself, to an extent for whatever, for the greater cause. But at the same time, I'm not someone that's going to insert myself where I feel like I don't belong. Yeah. You know what I mean? So.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I know that I don't belong in politics or mainstream news. Like, dude, you don't want me telling you what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm just doing me. That's do exactly you. Right. There are people that will make great changes in the world.
Most definitely.
And more power to them. But this is about the best you're going to get from me.
Yeah, no, I understand, man. I think that the purpose for my time here, man, is to play music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that is your thing. Everybody has their thing, and more power to them. I know that I ain't going to change the world or anything. So whatever happens, man. I'm just I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
As long as you're spreading love, treating people good, that's all you can.
I agree.
That's all you can do in life,
I agree,
man.
For sure.
But the world's a crazy place, dude. I wonder what July is going to be like.
Yeah, I'm anticipating some craziness again just because it's summer, man. It's summertime. Something's bound to happen,
Dude, we're already, I'm looking at it right now. We are literally 2 weeks away from July.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Independence Day, man.
Hopefully it ain't anything like the movie.
Yeah, I didn't even. Hopefully.
There we go. There's July.
Oh, gosh.
That's a good movie, though.
It is fantastic, yeah.
Man, it has Will Smith in it. What's that one guy's name? That's in Jurassic Park?
I can't remember.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I'm not good with that.
Wow, I can't believe I forgot Jeff Goldblum's name. And that one guy that was in the National Lampoon movies. The Uncle Eddie or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good with that at all.
Dude, I'm a music and movie nerd.
Okay, so movies, yeah.
Yeah, growing up, man, that's all I did. And now that stuff like Netflix exists, I've really dived down the TV show rabbit hole. Like I've already binge watched Breaking Bad. The Breaking Bad.
What's that?
Dude, that's a great show. If anybody out there hasn't watched Breaking Bad, highly suggest it.
Yes.
Peaky Blinders, The Office, Sons of Anarchy.
Yep.
Dude, I've watched every single episode of everything.
There's some I watched Dexter too. That's a great one.
I haven't checked it out yet. I've heard good things.
Dexter's fantastic, man. I love that show. But there's a lot of shows that I feel like are, like you said a while ago, they're easy to get attached to real quick. And binge watching is never really something I've done a whole lot, but I feel like when I get into a show, I watch it. And then, it won't take long and I'll have the show done is what I'm trying to say,
Well, and with just all this going on, man, I haven't had anything else to do. We haven't been able to book any shows. I've worked on material here and there, but even then, it's like you were talking about inspiration earlier. It's a hard time to be inspired now.
It is. It really is. I agree. And it's a hard time. I feel like if you care, a little bit even, it's a hard time to kind of have the motivation to really, create. I don't know. I feel like, too, at the same time, there's been a lot of songwriting for me happen lately because of everything, and because of being in a stagnant place is what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
I'm used to keep moving, That's, like I said, past year, I probably went back and forth from that. I put 40,000 miles on my car in a year.
God.
Going back and forth, and also just, traveling to Virginia for this show, traveling here for, just playing shows, man. I'm used to doing that. So it's like this year's been like, what do I do with my hands? What do I do?
What was that movie?
Talladega Nights, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Fantastic one.
Oh, great movie.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, man. It's what have you been doing during quarantine?
Well, mostly riding motorcycles, writing songs, and we've been having a good time, man. I mean, honestly, we've been having a really good time. I've got a great crew. I've been staying up in Paintsville, I've got a great crew up there. Most of them are older, a little older than me, and they all have great families, and, whether we're jeeping, somewhere on a strip job at 2 o'clock in the morning, or, riding Harleys, to wherever. We're usually, most of them all work full-time jobs, whereas music has been my full-time job for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So it's like, while I'm here right now, I'm all the time trying to stay wide open and keep myself busy. And I've considered going to work around here and trying to get on somewhere, but there's you know, we've developed so much, you know, potential and momentum with my camp right now at this point that if I do get sucked into working, even if it's temporary, so to speak, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where as soon as this stuff clears up and we can go back to touring full time, we're going to.
That's good, man.
You know, for sure.
So have you been working on booking any gigs right now with everything opening back up?
For sure. Locally, not as much because I feel like I'll wait on them for the most part. Keenan at Prime got a hold of me and he's booked me, you know, obviously this past weekend.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to hit Texas, man. I'm trying to get into the Texas market and the scene and break into the, you know.
I was going to bring that up, yeah.
Yeah. Those guys, man, you know, Cody Jinks, Whitey Morgan, and tons of other artists, man, down there. I really am just very passionately in love with what they're doing, man. It's like the music they create is fantastic. I love it from a lyric standpoint, but when I broke myself down as an artist and asked myself, what do I want to create? What do I want to sound like? What, you know, what's the most natural version of me as an artist? I strongly relate to mostly, you know, that Red Dirt. Or even East Kentucky, man, with, you know, Childers. And or even there's a guy, man, I got to mention, named Brent Cobb from Georgia, I reckon, you know.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that, dude.
You know, his writing's fantastic. It blows my mind. And not to mention, I think he might be cousins with Dave Cobb, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure Dave produced his records, too, is what I'm trying to say. And Dave's produced everybody, you know.
That's cool, man.
Oh, yeah, fantastic music. But Texas, man, I just want to, when I break that down to a simple level, you know, if you ask me what I want to be doing with my time, even if I'm, you know, even if the answer that you're looking for is not trying to make it, you know, what I want to be doing is playing my music to people that want to hear it. And I've got a lot of feedback from a lot of Texas people. And a guitar player buddy of mine that usually plays with us when he's around, he's from Texas. He moved back to Texas, you know. And he's like, man, you got to get down here, you know. So,
well, that if you're doing Outlaw Country, I mean, that's where
we got
you
Phil
have
and
to
Steel in
go.
the band, man. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. Man, have you been to Texas before?
I've only been through it so far. Traveling, I did a stint with a guy that was. We went through, you know, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, landed in Albuquerque for a few days. I'm trying to think. Yeah, and then shot straight up to like San Juan and Durango, Colorado, went all around Colorado and came back. Only through Texas. I haven't been able to post up yet. So
I only went through, like, you know how the top of it looks like a square? I've only went through that part
I think that's
of it.
pretty much what I've done. I haven't been able to delve down into Texas hardly at all. But, I mean, I have a feeling I'm going to really enjoy it.
It's crazy how different it is down there. Just the West in itself.
Yep.
It's like you're on a different planet,
Exactly. Man, Albuquerque was cool.
Yeah, New Mexico's beautiful.
Yeah, that's probably the first time. That was the first West destination that I hit, probably, you know.
Yeah. Well, Albuquerque's a great place to go. And another Arizona, too. God, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think I've been to Arizona. I don't think that happened on that run. But I've always heard good things about, like, Flagstaff and Phoenix.
I went to Phoenix. I didn't go to Flagstaff.
I've heard that the party scene in Flagstaff's unreal, and not that that's necessarily what I'm trying to do, but I'm just saying.
What else are you supposed to do in Flagstaff?
Well,
I don't know what's in Flagstaff.
Even if I'm not trying to do that, that just at least means there's things going on. You know what I mean? And I love it whenever there's people that can have a good time. You know, that means they want to hear music. So,
well, that's your scene, man. If you're doing Outlaw Country, is of course the outlaw people.
Yeah,
That's why I like people like, you know, Cody or Tyler Childers or people like that, because I can relate to their music and what they're saying. Like, just like most good old boys around these parts, you know, we grew up a little bit of a wild hair.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, and you know, when Tyler is telling these stories, but man, I've done that once, or I know somebody that done something like that.
I know where he's talking about. You know,
yeah, man, and God, and you're talking about songwriting, dude. Cody and Tyler and Sturgill and all them, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where it comes from, dude. You can print off their lyrics, and it's like poetry.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think it's beautiful.
I think to me, I have an opinion on this, and everyone has opinions, you know, but I think the artists we're talking about are just real. They're just real with themselves. Yes. They're real with their listeners, and they don't. They're not trying to be anything other than themselves. But also, if it makes sense, this is kind of funny, but they're not trying to be anything other than what they're trying to be. Yeah. They're not living for someone else's opinion. You know what I mean? And they're not trying to write their music for someone else's opinion, other than to, you know, they want to please their listeners. You know, I'm not speaking for them, but I just think they're very real. You know what I mean? Very organic.
Well, I totally agree, man. And again, bringing up Tyler, you know, he's building that the country squire. You know, most people like him, man. He had the top #1 country album last year. You know, went on this big world tour. I don't know how much money he has, but I'm sure that he is doing very well.
I'm sure, yeah.
And this dude could have bought a mansion in Bel Air with one of the best looking sports cars. No, fixing up an old camper.
Yeah, that's what he wants. If I'm not mistaken, I've been told, you know, by a couple of buddies or whatever that know him and stuff, you know, whatever. Growing up in Paintsville, man, like,
yeah, I'd say that,
you know, a lot of people that went to high school with Tyler or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he has a cabin, you know, in the woods, of course, but it's you know, I don't think there's a whole lot of modern day anything in it. I think sometimes that's where he chooses to go and get away from everything. It's just like, you know, I think he's a very organic human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's cool, man. I respect that stuff so much because I think it's too easy to get used to our creature comforts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or just people trying to follow the fads. You know, that's man, that's a big one nowadays. People, there are sheeple out there, man, and I can't get behind it. I didn't have an iPhone until 2 years ago.
Wow.
They basically like forced me to get an iPhone.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I should have been born back in the 50s and just grew up through the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yep.
I would have been, that's where I belong.
I definitely can relate to that and vibe with that. My thing is, man, I played around in golf with a couple buddies the other day, and we were talking about that, following the social, you know, what's become the social norms and what, you know, the social fads and the directions that it's so eminently important to wear this and to look like this and to do these things and to drink these drinks. And it's just like, I think that stuff's hilarious, man. And I'm not putting anyone down. If that's who you want to be, great. I support you and love you the same.
Yeah.
But, you know, my goodness, man, there's a lot of silliness in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, there is. But the thing is, you can't please anybody. Because, like, I'm the same way that you are. I don't fall easily in line with whatever fads. But then once you do that, people's like, oh, you're a hipster.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And I can't win.
Man, there's especially in Nashville, East Nashville kind of turned into a hipster scene, and which is awesome. Man. It's great out there, whatever. But, and I'm not acting like I was around. I'm someone that falls in the category of what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of, you see like memes and stuff of Nashville, the hipster scene, because it's just such a thing, man. It's just like, you know, Nashville sold out in a lot of ways, musically and whatever, you know, and like I said, I'm thankful for my time there, but I'm really not trying to be in that. I'm not trying to hit that scene. I'm not trying to be a record label's puppet. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like that scene sold out, and I think the hipster movement came in, and you know, it's a funny thing, but at the same time, man, like I'm someone I don't care. I'm one of those guys that I don't want to be in the same city more than 2 or 3 nights in a row. You know what I mean? So.
But I think that people like Tyler and Sturgill and Cody and the rest of them, man, they're going to save country music because we're getting actual country singers now. Like back in the day, man, you had Hank Williams Jr. being supposedly fell down that cliff, you know, with that woman, and he's writing songs about that. Or you have wasn't it George Jones that got drunk and rode the lawnmower down the road?
Possibly.
Yeah. And I mean, just like you had people like that kept it real. They didn't follow the fads. They were they were being themselves. And that's where you get good music from, man, especially country music.
Have you seen the Tale of the Tapes stuff? Like Waylon, and Waylon's the best one, you know.
I would say so.
It's kind of like a documentary thing. I think it might even be animated, if I remember correctly, for the most part.
That's cool.
Goes through, it goes through, you know, tales of that normally wouldn't be told. It's not stuff that people really know about. Yeah. You know, I think there's the one on Waylon talks about a bar. Long story short, a bar didn't pay him, and the next morning they wake up and everybody's seeing on the news that the bar was burnt down and they were already in the next city. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. You know, it's awesome. Check out Tale of the Tapes for sure.
I've never heard of that, man. Is that like a YouTube thing?
Yeah, I think so. I think I can't remember where I watched it on. It's been a couple of years now. It's not brand new or anything, but I can't remember exactly. I'll find it and then send you a link or something for
do
sure.
that, dude. That's cool.
It's killer. And there's several different artists, you know.
Yeah, I didn't even get into country music until I moved around this area. I've been up here for about 10 years now, but I come from Georgia.
Okay,
That's
cool.
where I lived. And growing up there, you know, it's mostly hip hop and rap and all of that. But man, like y'all have turned me into a hillbilly. You sure have. And
It's contagious.
But the thing about like real country music, man, is that's when you find like just the real passion whenever it comes to songwriting and behind a song. Because like we were talking about, you can listen to Tyler and be like, oh, I remember doing something like this. Or like you said, I know where that's at. Or it brings back memories, whatever. Just whenever you get real country music, man, it can have this certain magic over you, this certain power.
I agree. I think country is one of those things, man, that it's either, well, anything's like this, but for me, it's like it's either like you're talking about and full of juice, man, and passionate and great, or it's, you know, the complete opposite. And that's one thing that I, like you said it a while ago, the guys we've been talking about, you know, Cody and all those guys, they're going to save country music. Well, you mentioned that, and that's kind of what I'm talking about, is like the other side of it, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? The other side of what people call country music. My thing on that is like I don't have a problem with the music. I have a problem with calling it country music because that's straight up pop music. Call it pop country. Call
pop
it whatever.
country.
You know
That's
what
perfect.
I mean? That's fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, to me, don't call it country music. That's offensive.
Well, yeah, dude, it's happened with every single genre. Like back in the day, you had Motley Crue. Nowadays, you got Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
Fall Out Boy, not necessarily too big of a fan, but like some of their songs, they're older stuff. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Of course.
But
yeah, for all the Fall Out Boy people out there, don't forget.
Yeah. Now the older stuff was classics. Newer stuff, they can do better.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. But anyways, before I piss off all the Fall Out Boy fans out there, but it's happened with every genre. Like rock and roll went to alternative and pop rock. You had Linkin Park, yada yada yada. Hip hop done the same thing. Back in the day, you had Tupac. Nowadays, you got Usher.
Right.
And now, unfortunately, the same thing is happening with country music.
Yeah. And that's cool, man. That just explains the reason why I kind of wanted to extenuate on that is because that kind of explains my take on Nashville, because I never want to get it wrong. I'm very thankful to have an opportunity to be in Nashville, you know, freely and play, and I'm thankful for the opportunities and the people that I've met in Nashville and been able to work with. But it's just one of those things where that kind of explains my take on that. Nashville's not looking for me. Nashville's not looking for what I do. You know what I mean?
They're not.
I don't expect it to anymore, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I'm kind of over that. So it's like I want to go somewhere where hopefully it will be received, you know. And I'll brag on Eastern Kentucky, man, and Kentucky in general. I've been able to play a little bit around outside Eastern Kentucky, but Eastern Kentucky. But this area and West Virginia and the Virginia area right here, tri-state area, you know, man, you guys are awesome. You know what I mean?
Dude, we're talking about real people. This area is about as real as it gets.
Man, and here's the thing. You can take you can take the most educated person from around here possible with whatever, the most money. You can take the most uneducated, illiterate person, maybe the finest human ever, but you know what I'm saying, that has no money. They know what good music is around here. It doesn't matter. People know what good music is around here. And I feel like, generally speaking, even people that love the pop country, the bro thing, they might love that, but they're also going to respect and love and know when they hear a Cody Jinks song that hits, they're like, man, that's good too. You know what I mean? And I just really appreciate that more than anything, because I can go out and play a set and have people singing along to an Eric Church song and a T.G. Shepherd song from the 80s. You know what I mean? Or a Hank Williams deep cut. Or, you know what I mean? So it's cool, man. I love this area for that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this area, man, the people around here are like no other on earth. I mean, good luck trying to find a better set of human beings. I've lived a lot of places, dude. I've moved around a lot in my life, and this is by far one of the best areas that I've ever been in my entire life.
Heck yeah. I'm glad you say that, being someone who's not raised here. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. I've kind of got out into the world and have seen and met a lot of people. I spent some time here and there or whatever, but between here and Nashville, that's pretty much the two places I've resided so far. Yeah. You know, Nashville's similar. I mean, it's a huge city now. It's developed into a big city. But what I'm saying is, you know, there's a lot of that southern hospitality going on in Nashville. And it's a melting pot down there. But there's something in the water up here. And if you can even go down to Nashville and talk to people that play that scene and are playing on a professional level, and they're like, oh, you're from Eastern Kentucky? Yeah, man. there's something in the water up there, man. You guys are all what's with all you musicians, with creative people, So I really, man, I always like to give it up for the home area,
Dude, this is going to be the new Nashville before long. I know that I've said that a million times on this show, and people are probably tired of hearing it, but it's the truth, man. Give it a few years. If we can get the right infrastructure in this area, dude, we would be the new Nashville. We're already getting that way. I mean, all the people that have just come out of Eastern Kentucky alone, just in the last few years. You got Sturgill, Tyler Childers, Chris Stapleton, and I mean, cats are popping up left and right. You had Rachel, she was on The Voice, and a few others from the Petersburg area. They made it to that level too. I mean, it's all over the place, I know I'm forgetting a lot of people, and sorry to those people, but that's a good thing that I'm forgetting that many people.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Because there's so much going on, and people are getting all these big breaks around this area. Give it a few years. I'm calling it. This will be the new Nashville.
I agree. Well, the thing about it is, man, is the people that you've mentioned, and like Nick Jamerson, Chris, those guys, that have had success or that are trying to do it, and they all have a good head on their shoulders. I feel like they all will help people, man. I've talked to several guys that are doing it much bigger than I am right now that will talk to you like me and you're talking, or say, hey, man, let's get together and write a song sometime. And it's just like, I feel like, man, that's a huge aspect of what we're trying to do, leaning towards what you're talking about. There's a community aspect around here, around the whole Kentucky scene. You've got country boys in Georgetown, and what they're doing, their administration up there, they help tons of artists out with plugging them in here and there. You've got Lexington scenes doing tons of things, reaching out into London now over there, So, I mean, like, when I go to Texas, if I can hopefully make a good stint out of that, and get some traction down there, I'm not going to, don't get it wrong, I'm not going to be a Texas artist. I'm going to be an East Kentucky artist. That's what I'm definitely going to rep East Kentucky, but I want to always carry that. But at the same time, I feel like between Texas and East Kentucky, that's very similar. You know what I mean? As far as what people want to hear. If you go down to Texas, Tyler Childers is just as big. At this point everywhere. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, apparently, like him and Sturgill are really big overseas.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I never looked into it, but yeah, apparently they're huge overseas.
Probably just people that are aware and know what real country music is and like it.
Well, I'd say like the music scene is different over there too. I would like apparently like London EDM is their big thing. Okay. Like they love that stuff. So yeah, people are just countries are different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's cool to see demographically, like, who fits in where, because you ever heard of Marcus King? Marcus King Band?
No.
He's another example. Check him out for sure. He's my age. I think he's 23, and he sounds like straight up, he sounds like Robert Plant or somebody singing. It's got that 70s raps kind of thing, but their band is phenomenal, and he's another example of somebody, who went to Europe, made a world tour out of it kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, definitely check out Marcus King Band.
That sounds so familiar, dude. What's the song that they sang?
Goodbye Carolina is the big one, I think. But he was on the Opry.
I'll have to.
That one, but
I'll have to look into it.
Stuff, man.
Well, like you were talking about going back to this area, though, man. The one thing that I love about the community, so-called, like you said, is that there's no competition. That's one thing that I've really noticed that blows my mind, is there's absolutely no competition. Like you said, you can have somebody like a laid-back country picker, and he'll just hop on anybody's jam session or just whatever. It's just nobody's trying to brag. Nobody's got an ego.
Leave your ego at the door kind of thing, man. Yeah, exactly.
Everybody just all gets together for the love of music, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's the thing. Like Sean, we were talking about Sean Whiting a while ago. Man, he's become a brother of mine, and one of my favorite artists. When I'm on my motorcycle, that's what I'm listening to half the time is Sean. It's perfect for that.
Yeah.
And I'm playing a little bit of drums with him right now.
Yeah, I seen y'all's the live stream that y'all done a few weeks ago.
It's one of those things for me where I'm doing that first of all, because Sean's the brother, and it's fun to play music with him, and I love an opportunity to, play with, all of that. But also, like, I love playing drums, and I haven't gotten to do it in years. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's just like I love his music. If I was going to play drums, that's what the kind of band I'd want to play. Yeah. And he respects me trying to be my own artist and make that role and everything. And he, if I have something going on, if I have a show booked, then he never once is like, man, he's always like, yeah, go make that money, Hoss,
Yeah.
But whenever we can link up like that and play, it's beautiful, it's fantastic.
I love it, man. And That's one thing that I think gives this area an advantage. Because I'd say in a place like Nashville, it's probably not very competitive, but I'd say there's a little bit of a competitive aspect to it down there.
There it is.
But around here, man, I mean, anybody can get on anybody's show or album or just a little jam session. It's cool, man. I love this area around here. Like, heck, one example of how Laid Back and Honey has that strong connection to Tyler.
Yeah.
And he'll bring them all over the world. They were in a Kid Rock's bar down there in Nashville, jamming out with Tyler, and Kid Rock is on his cell phone walking around filming them.
I play Kid Rock's bar quite a bit.
Dude, I want to go there so bad. How is it?
It's huge. It's fantastic. It's awesome.
2 stories and everything?
4.
4?
There's 3. There's a main level that's that includes like the first level, and then like a mezzanine, I think is what it's called. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's how it's spelled.
Sounds good to me.
You know what I mean? It's weird, but it's like a tier that, you know, you look down into the same level. It's just 2 levels in one, basically. Second floor with a stage on it. Third floor with a separate stage on it, and then a rooftop with a stage on it.
So do they have music going on every stage?
16 hours, 12 hours a day, 16 hours, 4-hour shifts a day, I think, from 10 a.m. to 2:30, 3 a.m. in the night.
Dude, that is crazy. Yep. And the sounds, like, they don't overlap.
Oh yeah, but you feel that we're talking about like on the first level, on the main stage, you're talking, I don't know, man, roughly 400, 500, 600 people whenever it's booming.
Yeah,
you know, there's so many bodies. You know, the crowd noise is ridiculous.
That is
you know,
wild, man.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, you might have, there's certain stages that have bleed over. You might hear them, but when you get cranked up playing your stuff, you don't hear the other stages. You know, that kind of thing.
That's cool, dude. How big does this place have to be to have 4?
It's huge.
Stories, man. That's wild.
And there's most of all the bars are like that now. Most all of them down there. There's probably 75 bars on the strip down there, and they all have 3 or 4 stages, just about.
What's the name of his bar again?
Kid Rock's.
The Honky Tonk, or
it's like Kid Rock's Big Ass Steakhouse and Honky Tonk or something. Funny. I swear. You know, yeah. I swear.
Man, I love Kid Rock.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Dude, I've always been a fan. The Cocky album, that's a classic. That's like top 50 albums of all time.
Oh yeah, Kid Rock. He's like my favorite white trash.
Oh yeah.
You know, the guy ever. And like when I say that, that's like not demeaning to me at all. I'm saying like I relate. That's like he's, you know what I mean? Like
he knows what he is.
Yeah, well that's his shtick. You know what I mean? That's what he's trying to be. That's
and he does a great job of it. Even being from Michigan. You ever listen to his rap stuff?
Yeah, a little bit. I think
that's weird. Yeah, I'm glad he kind of made the crossover.
No, I feel you completely.
Yeah.
Kid Rock's one of those guys for me that I've always been like, you know, down with.
Yeah.
I just feel like at the same time, I don't know. I've never been like crazy about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I give my mom a hard time because she's seen Kid Rock like 6 times in concert.
Wow. That's, now that's excessive.
You know what I mean? I think she's a big Kid Rock fan. I give her a hard time over it.
And yeah, I know he's a little bit controversial and stuff, but with these Kid Rock, he's kind of like white trash South Park, you know. That's what you're going to get out of them. You're not going to get anything else.
No, exactly. That's who I want him to be, you know.
Yeah. I couldn't picture him any other way. And you have those people every once in a while, man, that they make that change, and sometimes it's weird. Like Nelly, whenever Nelly went country,
tried to do that.
Weird.
What was it, Tim McGraw?
Yeah, and dude, he made a whole country album.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Not a lot of people do.
I was probably too young.
That's why. No, this was like 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like in the last decade at least.
I forget all about that stuff, man. I had no idea he made a whole album that was country.
Well, I don't think he wants it to be that big of a thing. I think he wants to be known as the OG Nelly.
Yeah.
Hot and Her.
Yeah.
Grills, all that good stuff.
Have you seen the Garth Brooks documentary yet?
No, I love Garth Brooks though.
Yeah,
one of the best to ever do it.
Garth's one of the legends. You know what I mean?
I didn't know he does like stadium tours. Like that blew my mind whenever I found that out, that he sells them out like almost every show.
3 nights in a row everywhere he goes. You know?
Yeah. Garth Brooks. Hey, you never hear about him on the charts or coming out. Well, I think he has a new album on the way or something like that. I've seen some post.
No, I'm kidding. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, man, Garth is legendary.
Genius. Yeah. No, for sure. I haven't seen it. I was I was told by a buddy like 2 nights ago I got to watch it, so I'm probably going to have to do that tonight. But I believe it. I'm pretty sure it's a pretty moving documentary, but there's so many good ones right now is what I'm trying to say. Like the Eagles documentary. Have you seen that one?
No, I've heard good things about that though.
Fantastic. I love those, man. The ZZ Top, all that.
Yeah. Do you know there's a comedian, his name is Tom Segura?
Yeah.
Have you seen his and Garth Brooks deal?
No.
I'm not going to dive down that rabbit hole, but when you get a chance, look it up.
Okay.
Let's just say that Garth probably hates Tom with a passion.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. He calls him a serial killer and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I feel like I've seen his bit about Garth Brooks, but I don't think I've seen the beef or anything.
Dude, he does it like on a daily basis. Garth has never responded to him, and he's probably never going to.
Oh,
he's got a lot better stuff to do.
Right.
But yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, any man that has his own streaming platform, and that's, you know what I mean, Garth, you get his music from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And everything is G. It's G everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Garth. But I mean, if you were Garth Brooks, you'd probably have an ego like that. I don't know.
How do you reach a certain level of success and fame and not have something, a complex of some kind? I mean,
well, you just can't be normal
No.
after a while. I mean, people like David Bowie or Kanye, after a while you get so big, there's no staying normal.
well, and also you get bored, I think, and you push the boundaries of normal life just because you have exceeded the normal boundaries already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know. I get into that kind of stuff. I think a lot of guys, man, are quick to jump and say, well, F him because he this, or, he thinks this now, or he did this, and, whatever. I'm one of those people that I like to take a step back and, look at something and be like, well, wait a minute. Let's try to get into his head and maybe think why, stuff like that. And David Bowie's a killer example, man, because I think Bowie's one of the most creative, like Prince, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great example there. I mean, somebody that's willing to change their entire persona just for an album,
Exactly.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you don't have artists out there that are willing to push the envelope like that, you're not going to have good music.
No, exactly. It's art. At the end of the day, it's art.
Yeah, even if it falls short, that maybe paves the way for something else.
Exactly.
It's always good to push the boundaries. And if it fails, man, who cares?
Yeah.
Even Neil Young made that one electro album back in the 80s.
Right.
But he's still Neil Young,
Everybody's, well, exactly, man. You're preaching, and everybody's, relatively, everybody's kind of upset about, or what they were upset about, Sturgill's last album there.
I loved it.
I loved it, dude.
Dude,
And you're looking at
everything I wanted it to be.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a redneck, man, for the most part. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm whatever.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the coolest things and coolest takes, and also it was a big screw you to the label. I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? Wasn't it a whole, cool, man. It was fantastic, and I'll put that stuff on and drive through the city and feel like a badass. All
Did
the
you
time.
watch his the movie?
Yeah,
man, it was perfect.
it was killer, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's why I don't understand why people even try to get signed nowadays. What's the need? There's no need for it. As long as you can put in the work on social media, you're a lot better off being your own manager.
Yeah. Well, look at what Tyler did. He's another example right here. He worked so hard, whatever, got his own label backed by one of the biggest labels of all time,
Yeah.
And they didn't even, I don't even think, I don't know the details, but I'm just saying, it seems like they didn't even come in and say, well, we're doing this and this, we're changing this, and we're in charge now. They just backed what he had going on.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, that's the thing, is I want to own my camp. I want to own my name. I want to own my brand. I don't want anyone else telling me what to do musically or with my money.
Before we get out of here, tell people where they can listen to you, watch you, spy on you, all that good stuff.
You can go to www.clarksexton.com, and Clark has an E on it, CLARKE, Sexton.com.
Fancy.
And that'll direct you to pretty much anything. I have Facebook, follow the artist page. I have Instagram, have YouTube, all that. So for sure, we were working on an album, should be done by fall.
Hey, there you go, folks. Clark, thanks again, dude.
Thank you, brother.
See y'all. And there we go.
2 bottles full of that Kentucky. I ain't a giving a damn about what it's doing to me. Reckon I can swim across the big sandy. All about to find out, just to wait and see. Let that sign get a hold of you. Don't dance a little jig for an hour or two. Set a flame to the green and inhale the fume. Get to loving you, baby, underneath the blue moon. We're getting ready tonight. 'Cause I know where to go, where I wanna do, getting wild right. I'm talking about a piece of Kentucky, good time born out of the bars in the States. 'Cause there ain't nobody raising hell like the folk of the 606. Let's ride on out to Jellicoe. We'll cut through the creek, bet the water's low. Tearing up these hills like a pack of coyotes. She's staring at me like a wild-eyed dog. We're getting ready tonight. 'Cause I know where to go, when I wanna do, getting wild right. I'm about to see Kentucky, good time born out of the bars in the States. 'Cause there ain't nobody raising hell like the folk of the 606. Don't lay me down, girl, and shake my bones. Till the chickens get to roosting and the cows are home. Sunday morning service washed away